Saturday, C-Web, I know that a lot of cool stuff happens here, but for you and your dad, it didn't get much better than what you did yesterday.
Well, everybody at TNT knows my father's a big basketball fan. He bothers y'all all the time, and y'all handle him great. But Bill Russell, Muhammad Ali are his two heroes. And so the other day, I got to take him to see Mr. Russell again. And so it's pretty cool when you get your father excited, and he usually doesn't get excited about anything, but he was like a kid in a candy store.
And one of the things that you guys talked about, Bill Russell mentioning that there was a time in his career when it was his father who challenged him to succeed. Here it is.
I think it was '63 All-Star game in Los Angeles. So I had invited my father down from Berkeley to be my roommate at the All-Star game. I said, okay, we'll win the game tomorrow night. And I will get the MVP. And so he says, you could do that?
He's going to make up your mind and do it?
I said, yeah, I could do that. And I started, for the first time, really getting revved up at All-Star game. So I get to the game, and I'm getting myself all ready, and Oscar walks over to me. He said, tell you what, Russ, I'll take care of the offense, you take care of the defense, and we'll kick their ass.
Oh, perfect combination.
And so I said, okay, you got it. And so we beat him easy. And my father says to me, I didn't know you were that good.
You paved the way for so many people, so it wasn't like it was now. What gave you the confidence or the audacity at that time to believe in yourself?
Something you can relate to. I had the best pair of parents a person could ever hope for. My first memory of life was my mother and father loved me. You know, one of my favorite memories, my grandfather had never seen me play. So we go to the game, and my father and my grandfather sitting there watching the game. Well, during the game, Bob Pettit was sitting behind the two of them. Bob Pettit says to my grandfather, it's nice to meet you, Mr. Russell. So, on the way home back to Monroe, my grandfather said, something happened to me today that's never happened before. My father said, what's that? He said, I'm 91 years old. That's the first time in my life that a white man called me mister. And I'm touched by that.
With everything you've been through, and younger
Keep
generations.
saying been through.
Well, everything. No, everything you keep going. No. But my generation, you know, it seems hard for us to forgive and not to be bitter. How in the world could you forgive?
Well, I tell you what. A few years ago, my late wife and my daughter got together, and they talk about what could they give me. They said, is there anybody you haven't met you'd like to meet? I said, yeah. I would like to meet Nelson Mandela. So they worked on it for about 3-4 years. And so my daughter called one day and says, next Thursday you got to be in Paris. And Nelson Mandela's going to be there, and I arranged you guys to have lunch together. So I said, wow. So my wife and I fly to Paris. And our hotel's across the street from his hotel. So I know by this time how long it takes her to get ready. Okay. So I'm getting ready, she's not getting ready. I said, what you doing? She said, well, I don't know if I should go. I said, why is that? She said, well, he was in the South African prison for 27 years. I don't know how you'll feel with you showing up with a white woman. So I says to her, if he doesn't like the fact that I'm married to you, he can go straight to hell. And so we go there, and he's across the room, And we walk in. He gets up, walks over to us, kind of pushes me aside, put his arms around me and says, "I'm so glad you're here. It is such a pleasure to meet you." And then we had a conversation. And I says, the first thing, I'm glad that I live on this planet at the same time you do. You know, we read about historical figures, but I'm here with you. And I'm trying to figure out how you were so intelligent about destroying apartheid. He said, well, everybody predicted it'd be a bloodbath. No. He says, I am a Mandela. And I get my philosophy from my tribe. And if I had acted the way the apartheid government acted, I have to say that they were right all the time. But I am a Mandela. And that's where I get my philosophy and my thoughts. And so that they are not my role models, the opposition. Well, I'm nowhere near that great. But I get my thoughts and my philosophy from the Russell family.
See, sitting across from him, you had to be hanging on every word of those stories.
That was the worst interview I ever did because I just wanted to keep asking questions. I mean, if you look, he was looking over to my father. He was just talking to the room. It was so much fun. But this is what's funny. I walk in the room. He's like, "What you doing with your hair?" I'm like, "Bill Russell, I know you're not saying that. My hair been like this since you know for 50 years." But it was an honor, man. And when you get to take pictures with your fathers and the heroes, you know, you go to my house. He doesn't have pictures of the young boys. He has pictures of all you guys with you and Bill Russell and Muhammad Ali. And so just to be able to make your father feel special. You know, Bill Russell was the guy in our family. My father would say, "Do your homework." Bill Russell said, "You never be as good as him." So it was just a good day talking basketball, talking other things, politics, and it was just an honor being in his presence. One of the funniest guys you ever hang with.
First time I touched the basketball, Sergeant Philip Harrison told me about three people: great Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Wilt Chamberlain. Told me how to block shots like Bill Russell. Told me how to dominate like Wilt. Tried to teach me the skyhook like Kareem. And, always wanted to be great like those players. And I've had a lot of conversations with all three, but I think I've had more intricate personal conversations with the great Bill Russell. He's always been nice to me, and he said that I was his favorite player. He's definitely one of my favorite players, and he's always been a person that I try to recreate. I said to myself, 11 championships. I know I wouldn't even get close, but if I can get half of what he's done, then I can say to myself that I'm a great player.
And on more than one occasion in the course of that interview, that you got the classic Bill Russell laugh. Yeah, you heard that as a player for him, huh? What? Not at your play.
He actually had mentioned you too, Kenny. Not to cut you off, but he had said, I said, Kenny tells this story about, being on the plane, and you said, that guy's a loser, that guy's a loser. I said, is that true? He was like, yeah. He said, I watched Kenny play overseas.
In the World Games.
He said in the World Games, and he said Kenny was playing hard. I could just tell he had been taught the right way. And he was like, I didn't want him going in the back with those guys and learning how to lose, because we were a losing team, but Kenny wasn't a loser.
It was funny because, you're a rookie, you want to fit in with the team. And he made me sit next to him the whole year. But the great thing about it, all those stories that you're listening to, I got to hear every day. I got to hear all the great stories about. And the two things that he said. He said he could have been the MVP. He said, Dad, I'm going to be the MVP. The other thing that he neglected to say is he used to go into games and say, I'm going to make him good today.
Yeah.
When you're really great, when you can go to a game and make another player great just by what you do.
And you know something? What's cool, the kids with the idea, Dad, who's the one person you want to meet? We're going to try to make it happen. If you were given that, who would that person be?
Well, I met Ali. I would love to meet Mandela, but probably Dr. Martin Luther King. Obviously, he's passed away, but Nelson Mandela is somebody I would love to meet. But quickly, my favorite Bill Russell story is, because he tells the best stories, he gets stopped by the cop one time, and the cop started giving him a lecture about how fast he was going. He said, hey, Dikembe Mutombo, he said, hey, listen, little fella, you give me a ticket or a lecture, but you can't give me both.
Awesome stuff, C. Webb.
Thank you, man.
Well done, man. I know you
It's an honor
enjoyed
hanging
that.
with you, yeah.
I know you enjoyed it.